Hello, y'all. This is Cheryl Abram. Which channel is this? Life Without a Witness. Okay. I hope y'all can hear me okay. I got my windows down. But I was on Reddit today and, still looking for these non dual people that I was talking about in the. And I was reading some where I first discovered like these people. And it's crazy because like none of them are on there anymore. Like now, it's really nuts how we've all just disappeared and gone wherever. But I remember the it was kind of annoying. So first of all, let me say there's no hierarchy of imagination. Okay, my some stuff that I imagine is no more real than whatever you imagine. Okay, there's no hierarchy in that. Okay, so let's get that out of the way now. When it comes to one of the questions that I asked was, does everybody have to have a master, like somebody that they're under? Because my coach had one. I forget his name, but my coach was Robert Rabin, and he lived in India with some dude for like 40 years or something, and got Shakti or whatever the hell, from him and all that stuff. So, but I never had that. Okay, so and it seemed like everybody that I was talking to had that. Like they had some Maharashi and all these other Indian people and people from different places. Not the Naraguda, something like that. So I asked the question, like, is this a requirement or something? What's going on here? And the answer was pretty much, yeah. If you're actually going to reach enlightenment, what's that other name that they use for that? Not enlightenment. They call it something else too. I forget. But if you're going to do that, it sounds like, child, well, I didn't have no master, and nothing like that. So, but they were really arrogant about it, and it was very annoying. And that's how when I was on the Reddit page, and I'm reading, so they were saying stuff like, yeah, you can be in awareness all day, but some days you can't be in awareness. Maybe you can. Shit, I don't know. All right, I have no idea. All I can tell you is what I am aware of, and that's that when I knew that there was something that I was missing, or something I wasn't getting, because I would listen to all of these people, and I could hear that they were saying something, but and it wasn't. It was like right there, but I wasn't getting it. Like, what the hell are you talking about when you're saying there's nothing to get? What does that mean? It was so, y'all. The level of frustration was crazy. I mean, it was nuts. I would wake up just frustrated and like humming with frustration because I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? There's nothing to get. And I can't even tell you when I wouldn't even say that I got it. It's more like I stopped trying to get it. And that's what helped me to see. Is that I stopped trying to be aware and kill the ego and all that other dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? I stopped trying to do that. That shit began to get just as exhausting as it was to be a damn Christian. I'm like, damn. Like my whole day was filled with that stuff. I couldn't wait to just get rid of it. But I don't know. So just reading those comments and those conversations and stuff like that, it sounded a bit. And what else were they saying? They were saying some other stuff like, child, I don't even know. They were talking about meditation. I don't deliberately, like, when I say meditate, I mean like deliberately go somewhere and just sit quietly and close your eyes and things like that. I don't do that. I tried to do that before, and that it scared me. So I was like, I ain't doing that no more. But I do like being by myself and just being quiet and stuff. I love sleep. Sleep is my favorite thing, to do. So, but I don't know. It was just interesting to read those things, and I'm still looking for my tribe. I'm still looking for Cheryl, but but Cheryl's not looking for me because Cheryl doesn't know that there's anything to look for because she thinks that it, she's she knows what to do. She's just not doing it well enough. That's what Cheryl thinks, you know. And I'm talking about like I talked about the other day. The reason why I started this channel was to reach people like me who were in a position that I was in when I was at my lowest. When I was at my lowest, I was still believing it was my fault. It's because I wasn't doing something the right way. I wasn't following the rules. I wasn't moral enough. I wasn't worthy enough. I wasn't because I was looking for something else to give me relief. I couldn't do it. Okay, all I could do was obey and follow, and so that something else more powerful than me could give me relief. That's what I believe. That's where I thought I was. You know, so I wouldn't have even been looking for somebody talking about the stuff that I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? There is no way in the world I would have deliberately said, "Well, let me go listen to this lady who's talking about, that everything I've been doing thus far meant absolutely nothing." you know, like, okay, that's gonna make me feel better. Hell no, no, not at all. So it won't. So what I do know is that it won't be direct. Because when you're looking directly at something, it's hard to see it like that. You kind of have to see it out of your peripheral. You know what I mean? In order for you to really see it. So, and that's what I noticed with beliefs too. Okay, I have this whole exercise that I've created where, like, if you're trying to do something, like let's say you're trying to, I don't know, let's use a common one, like lose weight. Okay, let's say you're trying to, or you're trying to build muscle, and go into the gym and all that stuff. All right, you're trying to get more fit. Uh, and you know what to do. You don't need to join another $1,000 program. You don't need another gym membership. You don't need none of that stuff. You know exactly what to do. But why can't we do it? Okay, it's like you got all the information, you got all the instruction. You're physically capable of carrying that stuff out, but something is just stopping you from doing it, right? It's something that's just stopping you from doing it. So the process that I've come up with is it's like what's going on is you have one foot on the brake and one foot on the accelerator. If you do that, if you go to your car, put one foot on the brake and one on the accelerator, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't gonna do nothing. So that's basically where we are with the beliefs in our minds, which are helping us make our choices, to go ahead and get the two Whoppers and two large fries and a Diet Coke. Okay, that's one foot on the brake, one on the accelerator. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. That's having us be with this person who we know is toxic and is no good for us. But yet we smile in their face and tell them we love them, and when we in reality don't even like that ninja. We don't like them at all. Okay, but we remain in these relationships, right? We remain in these situations because we feel like and that's the accelerator part, because there's some belief there that's saying, hey, listen, if you want to be this person that you think you are, you got to stay in this situation. It doesn't matter how toxic it is. If you still want to feel like you are like a noble person or a kind person or a caring person, or somebody who doesn't abandon people, and I'm not going to be like my mother was, and I'm not going to do to my father what my brother did to him. You're then that's in your mind. It's like, I gotta stay in this situation. In your mind, it's like, okay, I gotta eat this pizza. I gotta not go to the gym, because if I do that, that's gonna negate, you know, all the things that I think I am. And one thing that I talk about in Firing God is that when stuff finally just dropped, like I felt the hole. I felt the absence of all of whatever piece of Cheryl was there that I had created. It was gone. It just wasn't there anymore, you know? And it was scary as hell. It was scary as hell. Well, something that I realized in that moment, right, was, and this is, I think I wrote this in my book. I wrote it somewhere, child, somewhere. But that death doesn't kill me. That's the lie. That death is going to kill you. No, it's not. Death does not kill you. If anything, it brings clarity. Like, it gets stuff out of the way. It gets things out of the way so that you can see more clearly. Now, I don't know about physical death. I haven't, as far as I know, I haven't experienced that. So I don't know what the hell, what's going on with that. But what I'm saying is, when a piece of you dies and it's just not there anymore, and it's that's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean you're not here anymore. Okay, because you are. It's kind of like when I was talking about how when my brother died. When my brother died, I realized, and I created, like, I realized that I wasn't just mourning his death. I was mourning the Cheryl that I was to him. That was only one Cheryl. Whoever Cheryl was to Gary, his name was Gary, she was gone too. When he died, she died. So as I was crying for him, I was crying for her. I was never going to be her ever again, ever. I'm never going to be her again. Okay? Because he was the only one who knew who she was, because he had built her up in his head of who my sister Cheryl is. And you know what I'm saying? So when somebody, and so y'all, I watch a lot of true crime too, okay? And I am convinced that, like, when these people who are together, like, husband and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, stuff like that, when they murder each other, and this is crazy, right? But I feel like what they're murdering is not that person. What they're murdering is the person they are in the eyes of that person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm telling you this, I never murdered nobody, but I wanted to. Okay, my ex-husband, I do not like who I am with him. Whoever that Cheryl is, I hate her. Okay, and when you don't understand that, you feel like, okay, I can only be happy if this person is not in the world. If my husband is not in the world. No, it's not him. It's the me that I am when he's here. That's what I really want to murder. That's what I really want to get rid of, but I can't. So the only way for me to get to her is to get to him. And I'm convinced, if y'all watch true crime, I'm convinced that that's the case. That's why people murder each other like that for a lot of times, when they know each other. Even if they don't know each other, like, they got something else going on there. Something else going on there, some kind of projection or reflection or whatever the hell. I ain't getting into all that stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I'm convinced that that's what that is too. So yeah. So I just wanted to, share with y'all some of the stuff I've been reading on Reddit. And I'm going to try to get back on here more, because I have these conversations now with myself a lot. And I still blog a lot. But, and I'm also using ChatGPT. Y'all, ChatGPT is really good. Okay. I talk to ChatGPT about some of the stuff I talk about on my channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm laying in the bed, I'm not ready to get up yet, I'll just be like, well, I have this thought about this other thing, like, what do you think about that? Now, what I understand about AI, what I know about AI, is that it's not creating anything, okay? It's just a whole bunch of data. It's got some big data set that it's using to formulate this information using patterns. And we do that too. We use patterns to come up with responses and stuff like that. It's just that AI does it at scale, like on a a level that we can't even, think about. Like it's really fast and they use immense amounts of data, and stuff like that. So I understand that I'm not talking to a real person with emotion and all that stuff. And that's good to know. However, it is useful. It is useful. And but one of the if you do use chat, like to have conversations like the way I'm talking to you now, if you use Chat GPT or Claude or I don't know, Gemini, whatever else is out there, they got 1,000 of them out there now. The most useful thing that I've found is not the answers. I'll ask it to ask me questions. Ask it to do that. Like give it a scenario, like give it something that you're going through or, whatever. Uh, and ask it to ask you questions about that. Like I'm feeling really icky about this thing, or I'm unsure about this thing, and this is what I've decided to do. And you know what I'm saying? And it's very good at that. It's really, really good because we do need to become better at asking questions. We look for answers a lot. We really do. What's the answer to this? What's the answer to that? How do I do this? How do I do that? We want answers, but it's not the answers that are going to get you there. From what I found, this is Cheryl's experience. Okay, the answers aren't going to do much for you. Okay, the questions are the things that are going to get you there tenfold and much faster. You learn much faster with questions than you do with answers. Okay. All right. I am here at my destination. Hi, y'all. I see some of y'all are in here. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Okay, so I'm going to go now. So thank y'all for listening. I'll be back on again very, very soon. Y'all have a good one. Bye.